Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and I got a haircut. Today we're talking about High School Musical, the series. I have to make sure I say musical twice. Yeah, I've watched one episode, just one. And it's about each of them are about 40 minutes long or so, 39, 40 minutes. This is so far three seasons. I don't know if the third season's in progress right now, or if it's coming or it's done. I have no idea. It started in 2019. It pretty much launched with Disney Plus. It was one of the big kind of selling points because what the whole Zac Efron and Vanessa Hudgens thing pretty much ran its course. It was Zac Efron, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Uh, it ran its course. They've grown up. They were playing teenagers when they're in their 30s. I realized. Now they're older, or maybe they were still. I don't know how old they are, or were. But why not keep the phenomenon alive, Disney? And what they did was they chose to make the premise of this is it's not complicated, but it's convoluted. It's a teacher has come to this high school who was supposedly in the cast of the original High School Musical. She was a dancer, third girl on the left with the red bandana, whatever. I don't know, but she her name is Miss Jen. The character's name is Miss Jen, and she shows up very enthusiastic about creating the musical for that year to be High School Musical because that high school is where the original High School Musical was filmed in Salt Lake City, Utah area. So yeah, that's a thing. It's a real high school. It's not just a set somewhere, but they filmed it at that school, and you can see it when they show the cafeteria and everything else. You see all the steps and everything else, and all the big dance numbers happen there. But this is, while it says it's a musical, so far there's only a few moments where there's actual singing, but it's not breaks from reality. It's not like, hey, just having lunch and all of a sudden everybody starts dancing and singing. No, that's not. It doesn't happen in this one. There are moments where people are auditioning for the musical. There are moments when somebody performs on Instagram or whatever to impress their boyfriend on their anniversary. That's a little musical number, I think, written by Olivia Rodrigo. Yeah, so yeah, she's in this too. By the way, is she the main character? I think she is. I don't know. I can't really tell. Like, I'm looking at the IMDb stuff, and I'm like, oh well, she doesn't look like she does in the show. I don't know. It's either way. I imagine that she's the star. That's her. Yeah, that's her. Or okay, you know what? Teenagers all look the same to me now. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah. Anyway, but the weird thing about this is that it's not just a series; it is technically also a docu-series, but it's not a real documentary. It's a fake documentary, kind of like The Office or Parks and Recreation, where somebody is filming, and these kids know they're being filmed technically. There's moments where you realize there's a camera. Is there really a camera in the bedroom where they're just sort of hanging out and looking at videos and saying "I love you" for the first time? Is there a camera crew in some child's bedroom, a teenager's bedroom? No, no. But at the same time, there are moments when they're like at school and they're going through like a conflict. There's a breakup at the beginning of the series. There are two main characters. They break up at the very beginning. Spoiler. But you're into that whole show for a whole total of 3 minutes before that happens, so I'm not really spoiling much. But they break up, and they they cut away to having them being interviewed by what you would presume is a camera crew. Who are they talking to? Like they're bearing their souls about what's going on. They're not just talking to their best friend or whatever else, but there are moments with that. So I'm not really sure what's going on. Like the one kid, the main guy, Ricky, played by Joshua Bassett, he doesn't like musicals. He calls them out fake, and then at one point there was a reference to the fact that he and his girlfriend had gone to see The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman in the theaters, and he he would yell out in the at the screen, "That's not realistic!" Like that scene doesn't happen in the film; it's just mentioned. So, so he doesn't really like musicals at all. But of course, once his girlfriend dumps him and leaves him for another dude who is quite the Troy, quite he's a singer, dancer, performer, and makes her happy and is willing to say he loves her. But is he the bad guy? He might be the bad guy. But do we know that he's the bad guy for sure in this? Well, in order to get his girlfriend back, he decides he's going to try out for the musical. Yes, you do. With nobody realizing you have any discernible talent whatsoever. Probably even yourself. So in this, that is literally just the first episode. I've spoiled much of the first episode, but it's really I haven't, because I think anybody who likes High School Musical or musicals in general, or just pretty good teen comedy. I mean, it's actually a pretty good teen comedy. There's some real funny moment. There's some funny moments in here. So the kids are actually good actors. Yeah, they're not going to be winning Oscars next week or anything, but they did really well. I think this has won a few awards already, but yeah, this is, I think, it has a huge following, and of course, I mean, I don't need to tell anybody who's already watching the show, oh, you need to keep watching. No. But if you're looking for something that it's a bit more mature and is a little bit more realistic than the original High School Musical, which you understand it. Although I like as I said yesterday, I've seen all the High School Musical movies now because of this thing, except for the first one, except for the original. I've seen the sequels. But hey, I get whatever is picked, so I go by what the randomization does. So what are you gonna do? So yeah, it's sweet, it's funny, it's got obviously lots of drama, but it's marketed as a comedy. It's a actual hour long. Of course, if this was on network TV, this would have this would be an hour long show with commercials. So and I think it had, if Disney Plus didn't exist, this probably would have gone to ABC easily. It probably would have been. It's shot. Oh, it's also shot like, not just like Parks and Rec and The Office. It's also shot like Modern Family, where you realize also in that show that all sorts of weird crap happens on Modern Family, and you have to think at some point they do their best to ignore the fact there's a camera crew watching everything they do, because all the crazy stuff it's only few rare moments that they look to the camera when things are happening, except for when they do their asides, where they're sitting on the couch and talking to the camera. So yeah, to me that is very unrealistic. I wouldn't, if this was somebody was filming me right now, filming this, I have a hard time not acknowledging them. Yeah, I mean, at least when weird stuff would be happening, or comedic stuff, or whatever, like, oh, don't show that, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's while the title is convoluted, yes, don't let that scare you away. You don't really need to know much about the original films to still appreciate, to still enjoy it for what it is. It's a teen comedy drama. It helps, obviously, if you know who Gabriella and Troy are. It helps absolutely if you're already a fan of those films, you grew up with them, that it helps understand what's going on and the references made throughout. And that's really the audience that's going to be watching this anyway. That's a given. It's like, oh, you don't need to watch Andor on Disney Plus. You don't need to have watched Star Wars, like all the Star Wars and all the Clone Wars and all the Rebels and everything else, or every other spin-off and series and Boba Fett and Mandalorian. You don't need to watch all that stuff to still appreciate Andor. It helps, yeah, it absolutely puts perspective on things, but it's not necessary. Andor's still a great show without all that content. But again, this is a thing I could see myself continuing if I had the time in my life. So I'm not going to add it to my must-watch list, but I think people who would appreciate decent comedy and already love the... Again, I'm preaching to the choir. If you're watching this and you're like, I really love, High School Musical. If you still want High School Musical without Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron and all the others, Ashley Tisdale, I think, and everybody else, yeah. Will they make cameos in this? Well, Vanessa Hudgens does appear on somebody's cell phone in a picture, but will the actors show up at some point? Probably not. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Maybe they already have. But hey, you're going to do what you want to do, no matter what I say. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
442.
442. Now, we are back in the 400s again. I think that's the thes. 442. Ah, well, here we go. We took a break from our onslaught of series. We are going to look at a short. Got a short for the first time in a long time. And I think it's a classic. I think it's one of those old school classics that were just non-Mickey. I could be completely wrong, but we're going to find out soon enough when we watch The Goddess of Spring. Now, The Goddess of Spring, animated short. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an animated short. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then.